FC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the Super Sports Bros. I am your host, Antonio Pop, and joined with me always is my father, Bill Pop. How you doing today, Dad?
I'm doing great. Great weekend.
Great weekend. A lot of sports on.
Yes.
We saw some auto racing. It was a different change to go down to the D and
how did you like it in Detroit?
It was awesome. Different experience than Belle Isle. It was a lot of fun. A lot tighter corners. A little more dramatic with the bumping of the cars. It was a lot of fun. But
that's good.
Yeah, and as always, the Tigers are bumping and grinding out there on the ball field.
They are.
And they are 6-4 in their last 10. They have the best record in the MLB. I have some questions for you tonight about the Detroit Tigers.
Sure.
Now, 6-4 in their last 10, obviously not as hot as they were earlier in the season, and people see a decline a little bit. Is the best team in the MLB slowing down?
No, actually, the Tigers are playing great baseball right now. They cannot win every game, although we all want them to win every game, naturally. But look, if the Tigers play around 500 to 550 baseball the rest of the year, they're easily going to make the playoffs. They have a phenomenal team, and even though those people whine and grind in L.A., and a bunch of your friends whine in L.A. The Tigers got a great baseball team this year. And if you look back from really the second half of last season, they kicked butt.
That's when they were heating up. And it's actually crazy when you look at the WAR stats. The Tigers right now have 6 players in the offensive side of the ball with +1 average WAR, which is awesome.
Right.
And compared to last year, the Tigers had a 10.2 WAR for the entire team. Right now, 60 games into the season, they have the same amount of players at the same amount of level. So it's really exciting to see the progression. We added on not as big of pieces, but we have breakout stars and really key development players like Javier Baez, Spencer Torkelson, and Dylan Dingler, just to name a few. What do you think has been a key to this Tigers team and the acceleration of this team to where they are right now, the top of the MLB?
Right. I think the Tigers, from the first batter to the ninth batter, they have a great lineup, okay? Meaning everyone can contribute. If you look at it, I think for the first time ever that I can remember, the Tigers are going to have 3, potentially 30, maybe a 40 home run hitter in the lineup.
Yeah.
So you got Carpenter, you got Tork, and you got Riley.
Yes.
That potentially are going to hit. Actually, all 3, I think, will easily get to 30 home runs. Okay, I really do. They're hitting the ball great, and everyone's waiting for that down slope. Perspective. I just don't see it right now. Look, they're not going to play 650 baseball.
Yeah, they are right now, though. We've said it to a point where I remember the first episode we had with you. You're like, they're not going to play it. They're going to play 500 baseball the rest of the way.
Yeah,
but they have been stubborn and continue to play 600 baseball
they
despite our doubts. They do have a great team. And one of the things, I talk about it with our baseball insider, Zachary Maderos. We were talking earlier today.
Is that the guy from LA?
Phone. That is the guy from LA.
Yeah,
so the Dodgers fan out there. He doubts the Tigers are even going to continue at this pace. He sees a big downturn after the All-Star break, which, I mean, with what this is, with the roster we have and the kind of almost minus WAR on the defensive side of the ball, which I can see his arguments there. But one of my things I look at this is the Tigers are the island of misfit toys. They always have been. And it's great to see that this team took the momentum from that last year, that playoff run, and kind of turned this into the next level this year. And it's very interesting to see. We don't have those great players, but we have enough good players to make a great team.
Well,
and that's what really this organization is about. We're not flashy like the Yankees and Dodgers. We're just a great organization with a great front office in Scott Harris and a great manager in A.J. Hinch. I think the combination of all that makes this organization a rare breed.
But the 3 guys I just said, any Major League Baseball team would want them.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're actually very good.
Yeah, but the argument is that, okay, the AL isn't what the NL is because all the stars are in the NL. Do you think right now, if we played the Dodgers in 7 games, that the Tigers would win?
I do. I actually think right now, if we played the Dodgers again, like we did at the beginning of the year, that was the first series I think we opened up. I believe the Tigers would beat the Dodgers. Tigers got great pitching.
Yes, they do.
And so think about it this way. Scooble is going to pitch probably around 10 to 12% of all innings that the Tigers play.
Yeah.
So the Tigers are going to win 1 game against LA, which is with Skubal probably.
Yeah.
You got the rest of the pitching staff, everyone's really pitching pretty good. The biggest challenge the Tigers have right now is let's make sure we stay healthy.
Yes.
So like these little 15-day disabled list little moves.
Yeah. Casey Mize.
Yeah, Casey Mize.
Yeah,
get them rest. Get them rest now. There's listen. If we play 600 ball from now to like August 15th, we're in big time.
Now you said about the pitching.
Yeah.
We have 3 players right now. 2 of them, I believe, are on the IL. Olsen and Mize right now. They're both above a 1.0 WAR. Skubal's at the highest at 2.8.
Right.
But my thing, and the thing I like to see from this Tigers, pitching staff is the Tyrese Skubal dominance. We saw it yesterday. He almost had a no-hitter. He gave up 1 run, and the Tigers lost. Like, you can't have those. If Tyrese Skubal pitches, you have to hit. You have to go for extra bases. What do you think about yesterday and his start there? And really, the real question is, do you think that he can win the Cy Young again? Do you think he'll go back-to-back?
Oh, I absolutely think he'll go back-to-back. I think he's dominant. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. And in fact, for all us Detroit fans who remember the Verlander days, you wanted to go to the game to see Verlander pitch. You want to go to see Scooble pitch all the time.
Now, you mentioned Justin Verlander. You've been around a little bit longer than I have.
Love Justin.
Is Tyrese Skubal the best Tigers pitcher that this organization has ever seen? Do you think he's better than Verlander? Do you think he's better than some of the legends that you've grown up watching in the Tiger uniform?
I think Scooble is top 5, but there's the situation with Scooble is this: as long as he stays healthy, which I believe he can, he will be the most dominant pitcher over the next couple of years in Major League Baseball. There's no question. When you can be, it was just like Verlander in his prime. When you can get to the 9th inning and throw a 103 mile an hour fastball and get that last guy out. That is ridiculous. That is phenomenal. I mean, beautiful. I never saw Verlander throw that much, but if you looked at Verlander in his career, the first 2-3 innings is when you wanted to hit Verlander. Same thing with Scooble. You get going into the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th inning, you don't want it. Those guys are lights out. Right? I mean, they throw the ball.
They do. And
they're horses. A great manager for the Tigers, Jimmy Leland, a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He used to say all the time, Verlander's a horse. Scooble's a horse.
He is.
You're going to throw innings.
And we have a lot more horses than just Scooble. Jackson Jobe, a young kid. He's 4-1, a higher ERA at 3.91, but he still shows promise. I think he progresses.
He's so young. He's a baby. He's younger than you.
He is. I mean, that's
so like we're gonna see him and Olsen and a couple of these other guys. They're just going to play. The Tigers have got a lot there. The issue the Tigers are going to have is going to be, can you pay Scooble what he wants?
And I think that was my next leading question.
Sure.
So, if he wins the Cy Young again, and you're going to need to pay him $400 million to $500 million to stay in Detroit, if you're Chris Ilitch, what are you thinking? What's going through your head? Do you think it's plausible to sign him? We have all these other great starting pitchers. Do you think it's worth dishing out that money? We kind of went through that with Verlander. We went through that with Cabrera. Do you think giving Scooble a long-term contract for that money is worth it in the long term?
Yeah, I think Scooble wants to play in Detroit. That's my opinion. Okay, I think he likes to pitch in Detroit. I think he loves the fans. Like at the end of the day, if I was the Tigers, I put the best number. Put it on the streets and let everyone know what they're going to pay him.
Exactly.
He'll be the highest paid pitcher, but at the end of the day, I would not break the bank.
You wouldn't break the bank. Well,
no.
The problem is right now, folks, out there, people say that Scooble's agent is a wild horse, and
but the Ilitches have a lot of experience with Boros.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
but
they have. I mean, I don't know how much.
I'm saying is that I don't think Boros likes the Ilitches, and I think he wants his client for whatever reason. I don't think, regardless of what Scooble says, I think there's going to be some issues coming in the offseason, but that's in 2026. We're talking about now.
Let's win it now. I mean, if we win it now, I actually think that there's a better chance of signing him because I think he thinks that the Tigers, he being Scooble, has a great team with so much talent that he's going to want to stay. They could build a 2 to 3 year run here.
I could clearly see that happening.
But the Tigers are going to have to save some money because they're going to have to sign down the road Torkelson Green, Carpenter.
Yeah.
All those guys are great baseball players. They're going to hit 30 home runs every year. Those three right there. So you break the bank on one guy? I don't know.
And that's the question, and that's what everyone wants to know.
Well, I think the big question is, can Major League Baseball afford to allow this crap to happen all the time?
So, it's very interesting because this crap is really kind of, despite everyone's hype on the Tigers being that dark horse, that gritty, grindy team that can get in there and probably upset the Dodgers, we have some people in our inner circle that don't think that, including our MLB insider, Zachary Maderos. We kind of talked about it earlier. He thinks there's going to be a major downturn. First in the AL to a wild card. What do you think about those initial comments?
The Tigers are going to win the division. Okay. I mean, Zach, what are you talking about?
Well, he's looking at advanced stats, and he sees the almost negative WAR in our defensive side. He doesn't really see a lot of individual player improvement, which I understand. I kind of talked to him about it. I said, hey, this team doesn't sign stars. We develop people. We get gritty and grindy players like Torkelson, Baez, and Torres. I mean, he thinks those guys will not hit good long-term overall, and he's worried about our bullpen. All those things are legitimate worries. I have to agree with him. Those are worries. But one of the things, and it's an X factor, besides the stats, besides the X's and O's, I think this team believes in a mission. They believed in it last year. They believe they can beat anyone in that diamond, and they can do it. I really believe this is our year. The question is, okay, so Scooble aside, how long do you think this window will be open for the Tigers, and do you think they need to sign a big player in order to kind of get more national attention and people to realize that we're serious again about baseball in Detroit?
I think the Tigers' window is 3 to 5 years. First of all, I think there's a lot of young talent coming up through the system. They have a very young, talented team. They haven't signed anyone big, and I just look at there's talent all across the board. And you know what? This feels like '84 to me this year right now. I was around in '84 and it was unbelievable. And I just think there's a lot of confidence. And one of the things that algorithms and AI cannot do is measure your heart.
Yeah.
I think this team is, ever since last year, after the All-Star game on, the team has a lot of grit. And I think they run with the personality of their manager. And look, it's
so they're not putting cameras in trash cans, right?
No. But I mean, hey, look, at the end of the day, you got to play all the games. What they want to do is get a bye.
Yes, that's the biggest thing.
That would be the big thing. If they can achieve that, to me, I think they got even a better chance. And at the beginning of the year, I was scared of LA. I was like, holy crap, they're loaded. Anyone can beat anyone.
And they're injury ridden right now. They have a lot of key guys out, especially in their starting rotation. So they're going through ups and downs. It really matters what you can do after the All-Star break. You can win, on all the games up until the All-Star break. Right. But if you can't win after the All-Star break to October, does it really matter in the end?
Right.
And that's the question that'll be answered. There's 100 games left, right?
Yeah, there's 100 games left.
Approximately 100 games left. This will be an interesting stretch. Today is June 1st. The Tigers are the best team in the MLB, and hopefully will continue to be that. We'll be updating you as the weeks come along. But now we have, in the 2 other major sports that we're covering in this episode.
Right.
2 teams left. The finals are here for the NBA and Stanley Cup. What do you think of these finals? We get a repeat of last year in the NHL.
Yeah.
And then the NBA, 2 teams that have never won finals in the respective cities. What do you think of these matchups?
I'm really disappointed. Okay, it's Sunday night.
Yes.
Okay, and we're not going to see any games until Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah,
it's a ridiculous situation, and I don't understand why they're doing it that way. Because I think, especially in the NHL, I want to see. I mean, we had some great series. Okay, I want to see more, and we're off for 4 or 5 days, and the NBA is doing the same thing. So I'm excited to see them play again. I don't get excited about Indiana, the matchup.
Really?
Oklahoma.
So you don't get excited about the Indiana?
Oklahoma. I really get excited about Edmonton playing Florida. I think that's a great series. A lot of personalities there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go 7 games.
Well, let's break down the NBA finals. A lot of people kind of have been on that negative downslope with the NBA.
I'd love to see the Knicks there.
Yeah, I know. I honestly would have hated to see the Knicks there. I like the Pacers, their can-do mentality. You know, they started off, you know, it's really a David versus Goliath series. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder with the most dominant, I think, NBA regular season.
Yeah, but who's going to watch?
I'm going to watch because it's David versus the Pacers started the season 10-15, but finished strong and have defended their ability to play. And they have one of the most premier offenses in the league, while you got the Oklahoma City Thunder with one of the best defenses in the league. I really think this is going to be interesting.
This sounds like a college football game to me. Oklahoma versus Indiana.
I know, it does.
I mean, it doesn't even feel like an NBA series.
No.
If it was the Knicks and somebody else, I would say,
You
okay.
know what? I'm happy for these two franchises.
I'm happy for
they
them,
get a chance to win.
I just don't think people are going to get into the NBA.
So you don't think it, because it's so centralized. There's no big cities in. There's no LA, New York. There's no Detroit.
Right.
You think it's just a wash.
Boston, I mean.
So you think it's going to be a very lackluster finals?
I think it's going to be, well, I think it could be interesting basketball games, but at the end of the day, there's no big markets with these two teams, and I don't think a lot of people are going to watch.
Okay. That's a fair take. I mean, I could both see that happening. But one of my things is I look at this as a very interesting finals, because you look at the past, you know, you got Irving, Curry, you get Isaiah, and, you know, whoever he's playing in the finals, Magic sometimes. You look at this, and you look at who's playing right here. You got the reigning MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then you got Tyrese Haliburton of the Pacers. You know, both, this is going to be a very interesting duel. And I really do think when it comes down to it, I'm sorry, people, I know the grit and grind of the Pacers. I love the Pacers organization. I don't think they have what it takes to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm saying OKC in 4 games. I think it's going to be a sweep. I think it's going to be a dominant win, a dominant series for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're the youngest team, one of the youngest teams in the NBA.
Call it.
And they're going to cement themselves from now into the next 10 years as a dominant Jordan-like run. This is the start of the Thunder Nation, baby.
Yeah, I'm going Midwest, Indiana, 6 games.
What's your reasoning though?
Grit
and offense.
Yeah, and they played. I thought they played that Knicks series really well, and I thought the Knicks were extremely good, which makes me excited about the Pistons going into next year, because the Pistons are going to get better going into next year. But I got to tell you, if the NBA Finals are coming up, you let the fans tell us. If the Tigers are on and there's the NBA game on, which one are you going to watch?
If you're a Detroit guy, you're watching the Tigers.
Unless you're an LA guy. Who the hell knows what they're going to watch, man? Let me tell people in LA, forget about it, man. Forget about it.
Well, we have a very LA-type historic run on the other side of the winter sports. In the stick and puck division, the NHL, we have another historic drama-filled series.
Yeah.
The first time that 2 teams have repeated back-to-back years since 2008, which we all know how that ended up, 2008, 2009, one cup for Detroit, the other for Pittsburgh. I was at that Game 7 and cried all the way home. Hopefully, it won't be crying all the way home for the Edmonton Oilers, which I think they're going to be winning it this year. I don't see Florida going back-to-back. Who do you see?
Florida is tough. Florida is a tough hockey team.
It really is. The most physical team in the league.
And I think their coach is outstanding. And you know what? I want Florida to win this game or this series so bad for one reason, is I want the Canadians not to win a cup, okay? So I know I got a lot of Toronto and Canadian fans, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they're not going to be liking you in the comments.
I just, listen, there's something about the Canadian curse that's going on right now. And you know, and it's happening because we need Don Cherry back. Don Cherry's still alive. And listen, they're
Bring
both,
it back.
They're
Hockey
both
night in
great.
Canada.
They're both great hockey teams.
Yes, they are.
They really are. And they got some great personalities, and it's going to be a tough series. But the one thing the NHL has to do, so we have 2 opposites here going on. We have Major League Baseball, no salary cap, things are out of control. Yeah. And then we have the NHL, which is way too much parity, okay? Meaning like the salary cap has been around forever, and teams, there's not a lot of movement with some of these players. So you're seeing 2 different types of leagues going on right now.
Yes.
And I just think that, you know, hockey's just a little, everyone's the same too much.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see Florida go back-to-back and just stick it to the Canadians.
Well,
Okay?
I mean, it's two,
Or Edmonton,
as we kind of talked about in the NBA side, it's two different styles of play.
Yeah.
The Oilers are speedy, quick offense. They have
McDavid,
Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
They have Nugent Hopkins.
Yes.
They have Tavares. I mean, the list goes on.
And they got the defenseman, the Wings gave up.
Yes.
What's up? My God. Fans, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah. No, we'll figure out his name. But Wellman.
Yeah. So like, it's like one of those things. Everyone's complaining, bitching about Yzerman. These are moves. We got some guys that were in the playoffs, deep in the playoff run, that were ex-Red Wings literally 2 years ago. So Yzerman got the talent. Yeah. At times, but like the team couldn't gel together. You know?
I mean that's the whole issue I think Stevie has is.
Well, he stuck with his coach too long. He was not a good coach.
Yeah,
so.
I mean there is a few issues, and one
But I think it's 7 games back to the
7 games back to.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down. It's going to go Game 7 overtime, and Florida's going to win it.
Florida's going to win it.
Good
okay. Good job. Yeah, I mean, we talk about physicality, and one of the things that I look at this team, when you talk about physical games, the net front presence. Guys like Evander Kane need to be strong in front of the net.
Yeah.
And then guys like who was traded recently to Brad Marchand. Now needs to be physical, and like that is a very big thing.
What was Boston thinking? Marchand, he is a phenomenal hockey player.
They needed a clear house. They obviously thought that, hey, we need a rebuild.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
Going back to, what's his name, the L.A. guy, your L.A. boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach?
Yeah. Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. You got Freddie Freeman.
Algorithms don't measure heart.
They don't.
Brad has got, that dude's got more heart than almost half the league, right?
He's a veteran player. He's 37. The leadership. He's won Stanley Cups in Boston. He knows how to do this. He is like the
he's
guy.
He's tough as nails. That guy. Any team would want him except Detroit right now. So it's like,
no, but I mean, I think it all comes down in my mind to how Stuart Skinner can play. Because out of the goalies here,
that's true.
Either goalie, he's the weaker link. If my thing is, if Florida can wear down the Oilers, grind and bump them the entire game, 1 game, 2 game, 3, Florida's gonna win. If the Oilers are quick to the step, if they get the puck in and they get it moving, the Oilers are going to win this series. I think it comes down to who can force the other team to play to their will, and more often than not, it's been the more physical team. I want Edmonton to win. I want Connor McDavid to bring it home. He is Mr. Canada. People call him McJesus up there. Let Connor McDavid, for the one time in his career, get a cup. He deserves it. He is Mr. Canada. He needs to win this for the Canadians.
And there's no better USA team than Florida, right? So, everyone loves Florida. So, look at us. We're passionate about this hockey thing because this is a phenomenal matchup.
Yes.
You go back to the NBA, you got Oklahoma against Indiana. We're picking corn and drilling oil. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, so I'm all into the NHL games.
Yes.
You let me know who wins the NBA, okay?
I will.
And if it's a Tiger game, I'm watching the Big D versus,
for sure.
all those other
It should be an
morons.
interesting week. You will see Evan and I Saturday nights. We'll be breaking down the first couple games of the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. We're excited to talk about that with Evan Angel. As always, I'm Antonio Pop. Thank you for watching the Legacy Sports Podcast, brought to you by the Super Sports Pros.